what's up? Bet you didn't see me there. Yeah, because I'm set up for the wildlife photography that we're gonna be doing today. I'm back out here with the Canon R100. That's the giveaway camera. If you want to win this, all you gotta do is be subscribed. And I slapped on the $600 Canon RF 100 to 400. In total, between the body and the lens, you're looking at about $1,000, which for a wildlife setup is super duper cheap. A lot of people were really impressed with what I was able to do with this and the 50mm that I'm also giving away. So I thought, okay, let's push the limits a little bit more. So we're out here at Antelope Island State Park. It's famous for bison, big old mule deer, antelope, coyotes, owls. I don't know, there's a lot of things. Anyway, we're gonna see if we can go find some aminals and put this super cheap $1,000 wildlife setup to the test. Most people are pushing like 10 grand for their wildlife setup. So there's one right there, you see him? I am pulling up. It's a lot like Yellowstone in the sense that, you know, you can just pull right up to some bison. One of the big telltale signs, like 2 things to watch out for when you initially walk up to a bison like this. One is they stop grazing and they look at you. Big no-no. If they're grazing, they don't care about you. If they stare at you, they're making up their mind. 2, their tail will flip up when they're mad. So stick straight up in the air. They also do that when they poop. So if they're pooping, they might just be pooping. Of course, they could be angry and pooping at the same time. I can relate to that. Hey, quick disclaimer. I did not approach this bison this close. I was photographing for a minute and I thought it was gonna go across, but it ended up coming more towards me. I'm too close to this bison. Just keep that in mind. Don't get close to bison. It's a bad idea. Okay, back to it. Freaks me out when they stare you down like that. Yeah. Well, it was crazy because he turned towards me. You saw that?
Yeah.
Well, he was out there and I was like, hey, that's a good distance. And then he just kept moving.
Well, closer. Right when he was
and then he
right
was like
here, he
right
looked.
there. And then he stops and he just turns and looks at me and I was like, I don't know, something about seeing them all moving together out there. It's like super cool. Super cool. Let's talk about the sponsor of today's video. Me. I bought this R100 out of my pocket with the RF50 1.8 and the kit lens. And all 3 of those items are going to 1 subscriber. So if you want a chance at winning the camera, all you gotta do is subscribe. So we were going to record a little bit longer and get some more shots, try to get a little more variety. Unfortunately, while we were there, apparently somebody got shot. So that kind of put a kibosh on things. They actually blocked off the causeway, so we were locked onto the island. They had like a police barricade, and then eventually they let us off the island. But when it happened, we didn't even know. It literally happened like a few minutes after we got there. So that was kind of wild. So although our shooting time was cut a little bit short, we did get really lucky with lots of good bison shots. Normally, I can get a couple decent shots, but we had tons of good opportunity for bison. So at least we've got those to look at today. Okay, starting with this shot. This is one of the young bison crossing the street. You saw that shot. I was laying down on the ground, really getting that good angle. And I mean, it just turned out great. I love the detail in the clouds in the back. We've got good depth with the road, grass, clouds. The bison itself is super sharp. I love capturing that motion, that low, long hair as it's walking. I mean, just really, really nice. And as far as sharpness goes, would I print this super big? Definitely not. I mean, I could probably run it through Topaz, sharpen it up a little bit. But, I mean, you could do smaller prints and it'd still look great. And then as far as social media goes, fantastic. The colors are good. Now, I did run all of these photos through Lightroom, so these are all edited the way that I would want to, but they edited well. The colors were good. I'm just unbelievably impressed with what I was able to get here. So I love this shot. Classic bison crossing the road. Here's a really cool shot where I was zoomed all the way in. And again, you'll notice these aren't super grainy. Now, I'm at f8 with this, and we were shooting during the day, but the ISO was never pushed too far, and it's really not grainy. And you can really tell when we zoom in on shots like this where, I mean, you can see detail all in these skyscrapers. That right there is Salt Lake City. You can see the whole valley from the island, so across the lake, and you see the bison in the foreground. You've got all of Salt Lake City. Then you get the mountains and the clouds. I mean, just, here's that big boy that got a little too close. Now, he did get a little too close, but, you know, if you're into birding, like if this is what you want to use for birds, you're in a decent range here for bird. Like you can get this close to a lot of different smaller wildlife, larger wildlife, but a little close for comfort as far as a bison goes. But look how sharp. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's nice, and the colors are good. The depth is great. Look at that subject separation. Now, what's great about the island is it's pretty wide and expansive in a lot of places, so I'm able to get low and get that background way behind the bison so that it's nice and blurry, even at f8. Here's one that's capturing action, right? There were a lot of starlings on this bison here, eating the bugs off his back. And there were moments where they kind of had these little flurries, and we got lots of shots with them flying around. Just look at that. Look how lovely that is. Ugh. So cool. So cool. Again, lots of depth because we made sure that there was a big background behind our subjects. Here's that same bison. We was standing up, little starling up on his back there. We've got them all up in his face, and he just doesn't really even care. And again, sharp enough to print huge? No, but sharp enough for pretty much everything else? Definitely. I was able to capture this motion. There's a little tiny bit of motion blur on these wings, but I was able to capture that at f8 and still not be grainy from ISO. It's really impressive. Now, here's a shot that really shows that you don't need a massive sensor size, sensor resolution to be able to get this wildlife stuff. This is cropped pretty far. I actually shot this one vertical, but I found that this composition just works so much better. You got 4 of these starlings right on his back. Now, I am pretty close to this one, but I was still in my car when I shot this, so safer. I wasn't out in the open. But again, I did crop this one quite a bit, so it looks super close up, but even so, there's a decent amount of detail. You can see texture in the horn, plenty of fur, the feathers on the birds. For online use, completely sufficient, and I'm super happy with these images. I love them. I love these shots. If wildlife photography is something you want to get into, I highly recommend this as a beginner setup. As you saw, I got photos I'm proud of. I'm sure you can get photos you're proud of. One more reminder, you've got a few days left to get entered in to get this camera and the 50mm and the kit lens. If you want those 3 items sent straight to you, all you gotta do is be subscribed. I will see you guys in a week. Thank you all for being here.